Welcome to the France 24 Observers. This show is based on our network of observers. They're ordinary people around the world who tell us what's going on where they are and send in photos and videos to document it. We check everything here in Paris and bring the best to you. We begin today in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The country is gearing up for just its second national election since it emerged from years of war in 2003. Organising this election is a huge logistical challenge. The country is the size of Western Europe, and with just 5 months to go, officials still have to register millions of new voters. The opposition worries there isn't enough time for the right checks and says there could be widespread fraud. We head to Katanga province in the south with our observer who uses the pseudonym Philippe.
I've seen pictures on the web of children who've been registered. Children who've been given voting cards. Judging from their faces, there's no way they're the age it says on the cards. In one case, the kids went to register just so they'd have some form of ID card. And in another case, it was the parents sending them so they could get more votes for their favourite candidate. The officials in charge of the registration are usually well known locally. The kids give them bribes to get them to issue voter cards to them. I don't have much faith in the electoral process. They say these elections are going to be free and fair, transparent and democratic. But the truth is, it's not free or democratic or transparent.
Now to the revolutions that are transforming the Arab world, or at least parts of it. In Morocco, the protests that started on February 20th have been known as the Quiet Revolution. They face much less repression than in other countries, or at least until recently. Now the king is considering giving more of his power to the elected parliament. He's asking the people what they want to see in a referendum. We head to Rabat, the capital, with our observer, a student who's a member of the February 20th movement.
The February 20th movement was created just after the revolution in Egypt got underway. At the beginning, the demonstrations were peaceful. There wasn't any repression by the authorities. But then, after the king's speech in March, when he announced reform of the constitution, we began to see repression. At first, we were just accused of being kids who didn't know anything about politics, or of being gay or atheists. But then they started to say we'd been infiltrated by Saharan separatists, by radical leftists, that our movement had been taken over by extremists and radical Islamists. I think what people really want is economic change and social change, not political reforms to the constitution. I think most people are going to boycott the referendum. They're not going to vote yes or no.
We end today in Vancouver, Canada. It's a beautiful, clean-living city with parks full of joggers and smiling families. So when drunken hockey fans went on a rampage after losing the Stanley Cup, the good people of Vancouver were not pleased. Vancouver is our last stop with our observer, Chris Waltz.
It's hard to say how many people there actually were, but they were certainly causing a fair amount of destruction. Windows were being broken. Cars are being turned over and set on fire in some cases, and you could see smoke and tear gas sort of coming up from the streets over the cityscape for most of the evening. And at some point, the police came out and enacted the riot act over loudspeakers to try and convince people to go home. We're actually calling for people to come into the city the next morning, starting at about 7 o'clock in the morning, to help clean up. Another one of the initiatives that's been launched is to try and actually identify the looters using Facebook. So there's a Facebook group where you can submit pictures, and then people are calling for other people to tag each other or tag looters in the various photos to help the police identify what are the people that were involved in these actions. I think those photographs would probably be better served just sending them to the police within the context of the situation. I don't know that publicly shaming people is the right way to go, and obviously there are privacy concerns around that as well. But I think it came from a good place.
That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website. See you next time.